So I wanted to catch up with you guys about some life things, but I wanted to shorten it a little bit. So something that's been a point of conversation with a lot of my friend groups in my 30s. I have some friends that have families, married, whatever. And then I have some friends that are just doing their thing and just figuring it out. Maybe they have a girlfriend, maybe they don't, but no kids, nothing, right? So my question to you guys, as a podcast, we're all guys here. We're all in our 30s. Does it bother you to not have kids as yet? Or are you just cool with it because of what your life path is right now?
I'm cool with it, honestly. I think my friends that have kids, my families that have kids, the way they talk about your life changing, it's like there's no rush for that. And I think I don't feel unfulfilled not having kids. I think my family, my friends, myself, I feel fulfilled without that. So I think I don't feel like something's missing in my life.
Right.
I think that's probably why I feel okay with it. But I understand some people feeling otherwise because there's a bit of FOMO. I saw on Instagram recently one of my YGs, one of my young boys, got engaged. And that's when I was like, everybody's getting engaged at this point. When one of the young boys is getting engaged, you're like, okay, it's everyone.
Okay, what about you, Chris? Because you're in a different scenario. You're married, no kids. So how do you feel?
I mean, just to be like incredibly honest, I don't know if I'm like I'm missing out on something, but like that is on the horizon. That is something that we're definitely working towards, and
so something you think about, but it's not like bothering you or anything.
Nah, it's not bothering me, but
on your mind.
It's on my mind for sure. It is. It actually, it is something that we are thinking about a lot more frequently.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too deep into the weeds.
No, you don't have to.
You know what I mean? But
it's just something I was thinking about.
Yeah, no, for real. It is something that's definitely on the horizon. Like I see, like my brother, I got a niece and nephew. My younger brother has 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
And then even like one of my best friends, he's got 2 kids, and I love hanging out with them. And then like little moments, like we get together for dinner, barbecue, and like just the interactions there, just makes me definitely pine for like getting to that level and making that happen. It's not always as easy as they made it seem in high school. I'll tell you that much. But
it seems almost too easy.
Man. Yeah, bro. It used to seem like
babies,
you pull up and she's pregnant just by saying hello.
I'm screaming.
No, because like, when you're in your like teens, you're like, I'm going to be in my 20s and get this, that done.
Yeah.
Bro, that's not realistic. Once you get in your 20s, like life happens and you're not the same fucking person.
No, yeah.
You think differently. Your goals are different now than your goals were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then now when I'm in my 20s, I'm like, in my 30s. Yeah, now's the time. Yeah. That's going to be the time where I start popping them out and start getting married. And now I'm 31 and I'm like, that wasn't the right way to think about it. If I have a timeline, I have a cap. Us say, I have a cap. A certain age where I'm like, okay, now let's get it popping. Let me figure out what's going on. But it doesn't really bother me like that. So I had a friend ask me that, and they were wondering like, you don't feel bothered that XYZ's having kids and whatever? And I'm like, nah, I don't really care. I'm happy for them.
I think the part of the perspective for me has changed as how I look at aging. My mom celebrated her 60th birthday. We had a party for her, and I was emceeing the party, and something I said was, today we get to celebrate the privilege that is aging. And not everyone gets to actually grow old and see their life change. So we can't take that for granted. And my barber, we were talking about kind of like building for the future and like, what you want to do with your future. And he told me him and his wife are celebrating 7 years together. And he's 43. So that means he would have met his wife 5 years from my age right now. And when you talk about like the pressure and things to do in your 30s, I think about things like that, where he has a daughter who's, I think, 2 or 3 years old. Him and his wife celebrating 7 years. It's like, to think that you would, get married or get in a relationship 5 years from now feels like that's like the cap for some people in terms of like age to even have those things happen.
And he's happy.
And so I think that's kind of why I don't feel as rushed in terms of like an age thing. Like, it's the only thing I feel is like, for example, my my oldest godson is like 6, 7 now.
Mhm.
You know, so thinking about my future kids being close with my friends' kids or my family's
Yeah.
kids, that I think about. So I get it. We're talking about your brother
Yeah.
and your friend, like that. I think about of like, okay, if their kids now are 4,
Yeah.
you know, by the time I have a kid, like, will their kid be too old to be friends with my kid?
Yeah.
That type of deal. But again, seeing someone like my barber who's again celebrating 7 years with his wife and he's
Yeah.
43, it's like, you know, your life is like life's not gonna expire if you don't have things at a certain age. So I think that's a big part of my comfort is like everything will happen in the right time.
Yeah.
And it's better to do it right than to do it rushed.
Nah,
I like that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
like
I think
that.
you're right, but I think the only thing that I think maybe you do have to think about is for a woman, right? The timeline on her body being able to have a kid, right? That is one thing I think. That's why you run into I think you run into those women who are like getting over 30
Yeah.
and they're like,
They feel rushed.
they're rushed, they're baby crazy. Plus,
Yeah.
for me, I don't want to be like the old dad at the function, like trying to chase around your kids, or they're in high school and you're just like,
Yeah, my back hurts now.
Yeah, bro. Right?
So I don't want to be in a position where like my back hurts now at 31.
Yeah.
I don't want to be having a 5-year-old. I'm 40.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, yo, baby, yo, bring the child over here. Come to Papa.
Yeah.
I'm 40. I should be
Like-
playing ball with my kid.
Yeah.
So that was one thing I was thinking about.
I think about that a lot too, because one of my friends did tell me that like his wife, she always is like, Adriel, it's time. Because they're like, yo, listen, like you think you're in shape until you have a kid.
Yeah.
And then you realize how much sleep you don't get.
Yep.
You don't stretch enough.
Yep.
So what you're saying about like playing ball with your kid is like, I think about that as well. That's kind of part of why I've been like even more in the gym recently is like, I just need to be in shape, period.
Yeah.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, cause I think about my dad, like us being able to play ball and stuff was like very short lived, you know, like he's still in shape, but to like run around, it's like he could stand and kick a ball. But the second we need to run, you know, it's lock off. So it's like, I want to be that kind of father who,
Definitely.
okay, we can run, we can do this. Like, I see a lot of kids in the gym with their dads. So great to see. So
Yeah,
great
I
to
saw
see.
that last week. When I went to the gym, it was his dad and his son plays football. Like they're two big guys, and he was working out with his son. And like obviously his son's like tearing up the weight,
Yeah.
but dad's there. He's bigger, he's
Yeah.
older, but he's trying, you know. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, that looks amazing. So actually, at one point they're close to me,
Mhm.
and I hailed him. I was like, because he asked me something earlier, so I'm like, okay, that
We
that
can-
barrier's been broken. So I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, I see what you're doing. Your son, like, big ups. And the guy's older than me, whatever. But like, I don't know. Just as a man, I respected that.
Yeah.
So-
I feel like it was always a big thing too, like when you find like, you know, you beat your dad or whatever in like a sport or something like that. So I'm thinking like when my kid gets like 14, 15, 16, I want to make sure I still have it in
Yeah,
me
you want
to
to bust
like,
his ass a little bit.
I don't
Yeah,
want to beat me that early, right? Like,
My kid better be an All-American. If you're gonna beat me before like 17,
Yeah.
there better be a good reason for it.
Oh, hey, here's dad with his bad back.
Yeah.
Trying to come play with us, but
Yeah, like no, 100%. So it's like I like that you're friend of talking about that because I feel like we don't talk about that enough.
yeah.
But I think that's kind of part of the thinking with guys our age, almost single or in a relationship.
Yes.
I think when you're single and thinking about that, you're kind of like, okay, that's something I want, but like, you know, I can't just like find someone and just hop into that. And then when you do have someone, you're like, okay, like, are we ready for this to like make that step or talk about it or try for it, that kind of thing. So I'm happy that men are talking about that in general.
100%. And I don't know, these thoughts and these ideas of things to ask you guys, this is something that goes in my mind to want to ask you guys. And I think the listeners will appreciate that as opposed to like relationship questions.
yeah.
This is how you can get to know us without us like talking about some generic shit. Like I don't care about 50-50. Like I'm not trying to talk about that shit, bro.
Yeah.
My back hurts.
You know, literally like
Yeah.
my back hurts and I'm worried about my kid busting my ass.
Yeah, like, these are the things on my mind.
My unborn child crossing me over.
Yeah. If you like that video or any other Mayor Media video, please be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and stay tuned if you want to see more.